Madrid's Bobby Charlton is heading to France. The Serie A's scheduled fixture in Australia just got scrapped. Napoli lift the Supercoppa, and AFCON is so back. This is DMAC Daily. Endrick's January loan switch to Lyon isn't this shock scenario no one saw coming, but rather the logical endpoint of a Real Madrid team that solely prioritizes the contentment of Kylian Mbappe. You see, Endrick joined Madrid in the summer of 2024. He arrived with a huge price tag and a lot of hype based off of his youth exploits back in Brazil. Yet it was around the same time that the Frenchman finally arrived in Madrid after years of speculation. From day one, the reality was clear. Mbappe wasn't just another signing, he was the club's present and future talisman, a player capable of replicating CR7 and prime Benzema output. And when your attack is built around a generational superstar, every other surrounding role becomes conditional. It's why Vini Jr. has somewhat struggled, same with Rodrigo, even Bellingham to a certain degree. And of course, teenage striker Endrick's task has become all the more difficult. Still, in his debut season in the Spanish capital, Endrick at least featured frequently. Across the 24-25 season, he made 37 appearances in all competitions, scoring 7 goals and accumulating 847 minutes. For a barely 18-year-old centre forward at Real Madrid, these were promising signs. He was being trusted in rotation games, cup ties, late cameos, steadily learning the ropes at one of football's most prestigious institutions. Under Carlo Ancelotti, he wasn't a Galactico name just yet, but he was hoping to go down that same pathway as fellow Brazilians Vini Jr. and Rodrigo. Then came the turning point. Xabi Alonso was appointed manager, and despite Endrick being awarded the number 9 jersey shortly after, a symbolic statement of good faith towards the youngster, the 25-26 campaign has witnessed a stark contrast in the Brazilians' first team involvement. Endrick has managed just 3 appearances across all competitions, 99 minutes in total. He's essentially become an afterthought. Now, this isn't about his talent seemingly disappearing overnight, it's ultimately a trust issue. Alonso consistently framed Endrick as ready, but repeatedly spoke about waiting for the right moment. At Real Madrid, those moments rarely arrive for teenagers when you're chasing titles and also collectively struggling at times. Adding to the difficulty, fellow youth talent Gonzalo Garcia also came to prominence. Now, Garcia isn't necessarily the more talented individual, but he fits what Alonso wants in certain game states: tactical discipline and a more traditional number 9 option. Endrick, by contrast, is a more instinctive and chaotic player, and chaos is rarely tolerated when so much is on the line. Granted, Garcia too has also struggled for consistent minutes post-Club World Cup, but objectively, he's ahead of the Brazilian in the current pecking order. So instead of building on his debut season, Endrick has stagnated. At 19, it's not the end of his career, but for the foreseeable future, Real Madrid probably isn't a practical pathway, which is why Lyon makes perfect sense. This is a quality top 5 league club that historically prioritizes youth development. Also, this loan switch isn't Madrid just giving up on the player. Case in point, there's no outright option to buy, but it's simply an environmental reset, a chance to turn 99 minutes back into 900, to hopefully gain more responsibility too, because Madrid cannot offer that to Endrick right now. Not behind Mbappe or the plethora of other attacking options Alonso clearly prioritizes over the Brazilian team. Another point to consider is that Endrick has ambitions of featuring in the 2026 World Cup for Brazil. Right now, he's not getting on the plane, so he needs to hit the ground running in Ligue 1. Long term, I still think Endrick's future at Madrid is complicated because even in, let's say, 2 to 3 years' time, Mbappe is still going to be leading the line at the Bernabeu. He's only 27, he's not going anywhere. The only scenario where the pathway opens up for Endrick is if he too starts hitting outrageous numbers, causing Alonso or whoever's in charge by then to alter the system entirely so that both 9s can feature. Maybe this is a hot take here, but I still firmly believe that Endrick has elite talent. His early success at Palmeiras and even with Brazil shows that there's a proper player there. But more often than not, Madrid favors the finished article as opposed to a potential star. So who knows what the future holds? Either way, I'm just keen to see Endrick test himself at an esteemed club like Lyon. Moving to Italian football news, and a rare W for the sanctity of the beautiful game, as the planned Serie A fixture of Milan vs Como in Perth, Australia has officially been cancelled. For context, due to the Winter Olympics opening ceremony set to be held at the San Siro, the Serie A decided this was the perfect chance to move a league fixture abroad, with Perth's Optus Stadium the proposed location. But this decision was criticised heavily. Serie A games are not neutral events. The foundations and history of Italian football and all elite European domestic competitions are built on home and away games in their respective countries. Removing that would blur the lines between competition and exhibition, setting a dangerous precedent that if one league game can be exported for commercial reasons, then in theory, any match could be. Beyond that, the regulatory process required to do this was a total mess. Approval was needed from FIFA, UEFA, the FIGC, Football Australia, and the AFC. At that point, the Serie A was no longer running its own competition. Something similar was also proposed with La Liga fixture Villarreal v Barca moved to Miami, USA. La Liga players then collectively protested the decision, and eventually the division backed down. It's very clear that the overwhelming majority of players and fans are united in being against this entirely. Once domestic matches leave their country, the league stops being a community-based competition and instead becomes this dystopian global asset rat race to the bottom. And don't let these greedy CEOs try to convince you that this is about growing the game in other countries. That's what pre-season tours are for. That's what effective marketing is for. Effective broadcasting deals are for. Think about it. The Premier League didn't become the commercial juggernaut it is today from hosting league matches in Perth. No, the Serie A executives that are pushing this don't care about the league's growth in Australia. It's purely a short-term money grab, one that permanently destabilizes the league. Thankfully, in this instance, the game was called off due to the complicated nature of working with all these other football confederations. But the long-term problem still exists. Football fans, we gotta keep resisting this kind of shameless greed. It's killing the beautiful game. Now for some quick-fire news, and Napoli are Supercoppa Italiana champions for the first time in 11 years following a 2-0 victory over Bologna in the final. David Neres with a brilliant brace to secure the title, the third Supercoppa in the club's history. Liverpool have confirmed that their record signing Alexander Isak sustained a fractured fibula and that surgery was completed on an ankle injury. The club is yet to release a time frame on the recovery period, but it's estimated that he'll be out for several months ahead. An incredibly unfortunate scenario for the striker. In South American football news, Corinthians has defeated Vasco da Gama to lift the Copa do Brasil trophy, with who else but Memphis Depay scoring the decisive goal. Staying on the theme of Brazilian football news, and 41-year-old veteran Thiago Silva is heading for a return back to Europe, re-signing for Portuguese league leaders Porto on a short-term deal. The ambition is crazy, and I do wonder if he gets a good run of games under his belt, could he legit make it on the plane for the 2026 World Cup? Surely not, right? In other transfer news, and Bayern Munich have signed Ecuadorian teenager Virgilio Olaya, with the central defender set to arrive upon his 18th birthday in 2026, whilst AC Milan have altered their striker department, allowing Divock Origi to leave on a free transfer so that they could bring in Niklas Füllkrug in on loan from West Ham. The German forward is gunning to get back into national team contention and could be a handy pickup for Milan, who lack that old school target man option in attack. And in French football, it's being reported that PSG are seriously considering offering Luis Enrique a lifetime contract. That would genuinely be groundbreaking stuff if true. And last, but certainly not least, we gotta talk about AFCON, because all 3 games today delivered unreal storylines and iconic moments, starting with Mali v Zambia, and Mali thought they'd secured all 3 points until the dying embers of this match, where Patson Daka delivered a brilliant header to salvage a point. In doing so, bro got a little too excited, attempting the backflip celly and almost dying in the process. I mean, look at this photo. I think he was doing his best Mbappe impression there. Next up was South Africa v Angola, and this game was incredible. 3 stunning goals scored as Bafana eventually prevailed 2-1. Fresh off of qualifying for the World Cup, this nation is full of confidence. They could be dark horses for this year's AFCON. And to close out the show, we had a David v Goliath clash. Powerhouse nation Egypt took on underdog Zimbabwe. Despite the evident golfing class, Zimbabwe shockingly took the lead via Prince Dubé, but Egypt kept pushing, with City forward Omar Mamush scoring a fine goal to equalize before who else but the Egyptian king Mo Salah struck home the match winner in added time. So much controversy surrounding the Liverpool forward in recent weeks, but this moment just sums up the character and big game mentality he still possesses. Crazy scenes. Literally all 4 games of AFCON thus far have produced stunning moments. Do not sleep on this tournament. It's an almighty spectacle. African excellence on display. You love to see it. Anyways guys, that's all for today's DMAC Daily. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be away again for the Christmas period from the 24th of December till the 28th. There'll also be no uploads for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day too. I'm so sorry for the inconsistency. Rest assured that in 2026, it'll be Monday to Friday DMAC dailies. We got shorts coming back, and then every single day for the World Cup next year, there will be episodes. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next time.